Today I'm going to give away a free t-shirt, bring you a Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown fight, bring you comics news, and reveal the books I bought this week. How y'all doing? I'm Victor, and for the first time in 2021, you are watching a Comic Hero show. Now kick that intro! Edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host Victor Nunley, and I am the Comic Hero. Happy New Year, everyone! We finally made it to 2021. Now, this is a New Year's Comic Hero tee, and you notice the it says 2021 with the CH. And if you notice, like the other numbers are kind of pixeled and distorted. Well, that was on purpose. And the reason I wanted to do that was to represent how hard last year was. And I mean, whether it was the global pandemic, whether folks have lost their jobs, whether folks have lost people due to the pandemic or any other causes, and then not just people we know, but people we adore as well. And then also, if you look inside the numbers, you see like a you see somewhat of a diamond plate. It's also on the sleeves as well. Now, the reason I did that was because even though we last year was very hard, we're broken but strong, and this represents the strength that we all maintain while going through all this. And then this color shirt represents the hope for a brighter year. Now, I know that last year was very hard, and I mean, it was very hard for me as well. But here's the thing. As I always say, adversity is temporary, and sometimes you just have to go through stuff in order to grow. So don't think of it as a hindrance. Think of it as a transition of growth. All right, it's time to give away a free T-shirt. All right, on last week's episode, I asked, what does the DC in DC Comics stand for? Now, I gave one hint on last week's episode and also on social media. I said that it's also a book where Batman made his debut. Well, the correct answer is Detective Comics. So, in many ways, you could say that DC Comics stands for Detective Comics. All right, well, 16 people have answered correctly, and because they've answered correctly, their name's been entered in a drawing for a free tee. And that drawing takes place right now. So the winner of the free tee for this week's episode of the show is JJ Gunter from West Monroe, Louisiana. So congratulations, JJ. Win yourself a free Comic Hero tee. All right, here's the question for next week's episode, and this is a Marvel question. Which Marvel character has died more times than any character in any publication? Now, I'm going to give two hints, and they're going to be dead giveaways. The first hint, this character is an original X-Men, or X-Man. Was one of the original 5 members of the X-Men. The second hint, Famke Janssen and Sophie Turner have both played this character on the big screen. Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in a drawing for a free tee on next week's episode. All right, now, the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown segment is usually reserved for viewers. I usually let other people make requests. But every once in a while, I like to come up with one, and this one features 2 atomized characters. One in the DC universe, who's a hero, and the one in the Marvel universe, who's a villain. Well, it was a villain, but then thanks to the Fantastic Four, he's somewhat reformed. Representing DC, we have Captain Atom. And representing Marvel, we have Molecule Man. These two are going to duke it out in a segment I like to call the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Welcome to the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Today, it's Captain Atom versus Molecule Man. Captain Atom possesses superhuman strength, flight, energy blast, minor atomic transmutation, atomic absorption, and molecule manipulation and manifestation. Molecule Man possesses reality warping and molecular manipulation. Who will win? This will be an even fight until the end. Molecule Man will warp reality around them in order to distract Captain Atom, but the latter is way too disciplined to lose focus. Captain Atom slowly walks towards Molecule Man and absorbs all of Molecule Man's molecular powers. Captain Atom wins. But wait! Seconds after absorbing Molecule Man's powers, Captain Atom suddenly combusts spontaneously and the alien shell coating around his body is destroyed. Molecular Man immediately regains his powers and absorbs Captain Atom's powers as well. He then becomes hungry for sloppy joes. Molecule Man wins. And that concludes this fight on the Comic Hero Throwdown Showdown. Alright, well, I hope y'all enjoyed that fight, and I'll have another one for next week. Now it's time for Comically Speaking, so without further ado, let's talk comics! Alright, there's only one thing that I'm going to talk about in this segment of Comically Speaking, and it has to do with the Connor Kent Superboy. Now, 2 years ago, when Brian Michael Bendis started writing Young Justice, this was Superboy's first appearance since 2011, right before DC launched the New 52. And for those of y'all who don't know, this Superboy made his debut back in the 1993 Reign of Superman story arc that went through all the Superman books and then a few issues of Green Lantern. And I mean, I love this character, but it's been announced, and it's kind of a spoiler because it has to do with one of the books that I'm going to feature in the next segment. But he's going to have a new role within the Superman family, and that role is he is going to be Superman's little brother. Now, right after Flashpoint, Connor was completely written out of the DC universe. Now they used another Superboy in the New 52, but unfortunately this was not him. It was actually a clone of both Superman and Lois's son, John, from an alternate timeline. And but let me tell you, I'm honestly glad that Connor is back. And it's going to be kind of weird because, there's going to be two Superboys, him and then John Kent. But, I'm quite sure DC's going to make it work, and it's going to make Superman a whole heck of a lot stronger than he's ever been. But here's the reason why. Now, one thing about it, when he somehow reappeared in the DC books, Superman had no memory of him ever existing. However, Jonathan and Martha Kent did, because they actually helped raise him. And this was during his time as a Teen Titan. That's when they started raising him. And then, he really started taking care of Martha right after Jonathan had seemingly got killed during the pre-Flashpoint DC universe after suffering a heart attack. But then when Rebirth was done back in 2016, and then the Superman merged with the pre-Flashpoint Superman merged with the New 52 Superman, then Jonathan was somehow reappear in the books. And a little Comicology 101 there. But when Jonathan and Martha Kent had revealed that they did remember him, and they actually raised him while he was a Teen Titan, Superman was saying, I can't believe I forgot that. So with that being said, you're my little brother. really looking forward to this. This is going to be great. I love the character Superboy. I mean, ever since 1993, I mean, he's really been making strides in the DC universe, and it's so good to have him back. All right, that's it for Comically Speaking. Now let's get to the comics I bought this week. Comic books I bought this week. Alright, first up is Action Comics number 1028. The Amazing Spider-Man number 55. Avengers number 40. Dark Knight's Death Metal Infinite Hour Extreme. Dark Knight's Death Metal The Last 52 War of the Multiverses. Dark Knight's Death Metal The Last Stories of the DC Universe. The Last Stories. Dark Knight's Death Metal The Multiverse Who Laughs. Dark Knight's Death Metal The Secret Origin. Detective Comics number 1033. Excalibur number 16. Miles Morales Spider-Man number 21. Power Pack number 2. Spider-Man number 5. Wolverine number 8. And finally, X-Men number 16. Alright, that's 15, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 10,384. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Here's a question again for a free tee for next week's episode of the show. Which Marvel character has died more times than any character in any publication? Now, here's the hints again. The first hint, this character is one of the 5 original X-Men. The second hint, both Famke Janssen and Sophie Turner played this character on the big screen. Everyone who answers correctly will be entered in the drawing for a free tee on next week's episode of the show. And congratulations to JJ Gunter from West Monroe, Louisiana, who won a free tee on this week's episode. Alright, here's the road ahead for the show. Now, next week, I'm going to show some love to the national champions, whether that be Alabama or Ohio State. And that's, of course, episode 341. The week after that, on episode 342, I'm going to raise awareness of cervical cancer. Now, I personally know some women that have survived and have lost their battle to this form of cancer. And if you're watching this and you're a survivor, or you're a family member of someone that has lost their life to cervical cancer, this episode is for you. And then episode 343 through 346, Mardi Gras. Now I know that it's gonna that because of this pandemic, it's gonna be kind of hard to celebrate Mardi Gras because there aren't any parades. But just because there aren't any parades, that doesn't mean that the Mardi Gras season is canceled. There a lot of crews throughout in cities like Shreveport, Monroe, Lafayette, New Orleans, or anywhere like that. What they're doing is that they're encouraging people to decorate their decorate their houses in Mardi Gras garb. And this desk for 4 episodes is going to be dripping with purple, gold, and green. And also I'm going to arrange compose some original Zydeco and Second Line songs. I just got started on this a few days ago, and I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to do these episodes so you can hear these great songs. All right, and I just want to say this. 2020 was a very hard year. Sometimes the word hard just doesn't do it any justice. But what we went through then and what we're also going through now is, with the pandemic, is adversity. And as I always say, adversity is temporary. In other words, this is going to be a thing of the past real soon. And so don't think of it as an endless waltz, or that there's no end in sight, because there's always end in sight when it's something that's temporary. And this is that temporary. This is another level of adversity, and we're all going to get through it. I guarantee it. All right, I'm Victor Noli on A Comic Hero. I'll see you next week for episode 341. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero, and Happy New Year, y'all.